So right now we're doing one of my absolute favorite things to fish or to do while I'm fishing, besides throw a swim jig. Everybody knows that, but here we are at summertime. It's almost July. The water temperatures are hot, in the 80s, and we're up here fishing in less than 3 foot of water. A lot of times 1.5 to 2 foot. Trolling motors turning mud. You know, it's no secret. Everybody that knows me knows that I like to get up here shallow and fish where like I said, the trolling motor's churning that mud. And this is the time of the year when everybody just assumes that all the fish go out there and get deep and get off the drops and things like that. And yeah, there's a lot of them that go out there and get out there, but there's also a lot of them that stay up here and stay shallow. You know, but there's some key things that you need to look for when you're up here fishing shallow. As you can see right here behind us, we have a feeder creek that comes into this shallow flat where all this wood's hung up. That's always first what I look for. I always try to look for some area that has a feeder creek feeding into it. And what that does, it always has an influx of fresh water coming in. And in return, you know, the shad like to stay around there, the bluegills. It's all quality of life. You know, if there's no bait in your area, typically there's not gonna be any bass. So simply by having these creeks that come in, always help, or that's what I always look for. Second thing I'm gonna look for is always scattered wood out on the flats that may be sitting close or adjacent to deep water. And when I say deep water, you know, this wood may be sitting in 1 foot and the boat may be sitting in 2.5 or 3 foot. So when we say deep, it's all relevant to where you're at. So what I like to do is just get around here. You know, you can see fish popping around, bait flopping around. I like to get up here and flip, throw a spinnerbait, throw a square bill. And a lot of times what you'll have is what I call resident fish that don't even know there's a main lake out there or a river, and they'll stay back here all year long. Doesn't matter if the water temperatures get up in the 90s. One of my favorite times of the year to do this is in August, when it's as hot as it gets. And you gotta remember, when you come back here, this is almost like hunting instead of fishing. You're not looking for a school fish, you're looking for single fish that are gonna be sitting on these isolated pieces of wood. And a lot of times, this is a pattern that a lot of guys aren't running, so a lot of times you'll have it to yourself. And a lot of times this will be those places where those 3, 4, 5 pound class fish will set up. Yeah, you're gonna catch a lot of little ones, but you're also gonna catch a lot of big ones. And like I said, it's a technique that typically you're gonna have it all to yourself. And that's what I like. You know, typically for me, I'm always way up in the creek, way up in the river, taking this express up there where sometimes it's hard to get a glass boat. Concentrating on isolated woods out on the flats. Like I said, the whole key to this is got to have some kind of influx of water coming in with you, and typically you always got to have bait around you. One of those patterns that it's worked for me as long as I can remember, and it's a pattern that a lot of guys don't do. You know, a lot of guys don't like to fight to get all the way back here, and then once they get back here and their trolling motor's churning up mud, they're already kind of screwed up in the head because they think, man, this is way too shallow for there to be a bass. And a lot of times in these places, when you pitch your bait in there, you'll actually see a mud swirl before you feel the bite. So don't ever think it's too shallow for a bass to be on a piece of cover.